PNR Networks is a member of Patreon. Show your love for our shows by joining our ongoing fundraising campaign and get some fantastic perks in return. Check it out and become a Patreon sponsor. You can sign up at patreon.com, patreon.com/PNR Networks. And thanks for your support.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Another week in March, another week of pain! Pain! Oh, pain! Pain!
And overacting.
Well, somebody's got a Deanna Troy all over the place during this month, right? Yeah. Plus, we got current movies and a few other odds and ends this week on this show as Masochistic Martial Arts March marches forward into the swamps of hell, right?
Or Outworld, depending on how you look at things.
Or in the swamps of sadness. We have something about Noah Hathaway on this week's show, too.
We do.
And a lot more. All right here, right now. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Like sands through Outworld and more.
This is Subject Cinema. Finish him!
Stand by to receive our transmission.
This town needs an enema.
Celebrating a decade of film podcasting. Lasting out of Beantown, USA, you're tuned into Subject Cinema with T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown.
Directive.
Oh, behave. Yeah.
I volunteer as tribute.
Suppose you run your business and let me run mine. Here's looking at you, kid. Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome T.C. and Kim.
I need to come up with a theme song for this. You know, oh, it's Masochistic March. Da 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 da. It's something like that. Yo, welcome to Subject Cinema. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
Hi, I'm Kim Brown.
Subject Cinema number 560, day and date, March 12th, 2017.
Yep.
How are you?
Fine.
It's Masochistic March, martial arts badness all month long.
Yep.
Oh, what I'm having to endure for this year.
The things we do because we love you
I mean,
guys.
granted, after what we saw this week, I'd still rather watch it again than watch The Apple again. But still.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that.
Well,
and
there's no sparkly vampires.
We're prepping for major snowage up here in the next couple of days. So hopefully I will have time to get Catastrophe Vortex back up and running after 2 weeks off. We did get Front Row back up this week. And everything's back on schedule, hopefully, as we head through the week. What do you think this week's going to be like? We got a potential 2 foot of snow coming in a blizzard on Tuesday.
Yeah. You know,
so
it's one of those things, well, we think something's going to happen, and they talk about it like it's going to be the worst snow in the history of ever.
AccuWeather said it is the worst storm of the year so far. So,
but you
also have to remember that they said we were going to get 5 inches of snow 5 years ago when we were on our way to the Salem Film Fest, and it dropped 27 inches.
Yeah. So.
I'm like, you bastards lied.
Yeah.
No,
they didn't lie. They're just inept. You know, that's...
Well, Eric Fisher wasn't here with his AccuWeather forecast in the Channel 4 Weather Center. Eric is actually also on CBS News. So
we've seen some pretty cool things online this week. Some from our buddies over at Watch Mojo. They put up some really cool stuff. I hope you'll go check it out.
Why are you plugging Watch Mojo?
I'm sorry. I'm just bringing up their...
Why? They're not going to plug us. I don't see us in the top 10 Subject Cinema podcasts.
It's fine.
We love Watch Mojo, but it would be nice to do that, and I'd rather get a list 25. Thank you.
And we saw a wonderful video about how to feed ducks from
that wasn't from List 25.
No.
That was from Tristan.
Yeah. Actually, it was a video about how not to feed ducks.
You have to understand, we love to watch YouTube stuff, and I'm hooked on List 25, and Tristan, who does the video work for them, has his own channel. Mike does stuff with him, the guy that hosts most of the shows, and Kim is addicted to Watch Mojo and What Culture and all those, and it's kind of crazy. So when we on spare time where we should be watching movies,
Yeah.
she's either watching her Law and Order channel. There's nothing like 24/7 of Sam Waterston's dour face, and Mansfield's daughter. What's her name? Hargitay. Mariska Hargitay too. It's like, or we're watching that stuff. So we really should be watching movies, and now we are because it's Masochistic March and we have to catch up. And this week, oh God, the first movie was good to some extent. We did not see the second film, even though I actually had a friend tell me it was better than the first movie. They lied. They lied. Going back in time to a time when video games were simpler and funner and bloodier, and the movies that came out of them were still bad.
Everybody is kung fu fighting. Your mind becomes fast as lightning.
Hey kids, time to jump in the car. Pull into a choice viewing spot. Put the speaker in the window. Sit back, relax, and suffer with everyone else. It's time for another trip to the Subject Cinema Drive-In Dungeon.
Shao Kahn, Emperor of Outworld. The Earth was created in 6 days, so too shall it be destroyed. Your planet and Outworld have begun to merge into one realm. Think of it as hell on Earth.
I thought our victory closed those portals.
If I am correct, your mother Sindel is the key to all of this. By reuniting you with her, Khan's spell will be broken. This is the beginning of the end!
When we last left our heroes at the end of the first movie, we thought maybe we might get a decent sequel. We were wrong. It picks up right where the first one left off, too. Although suddenly somebody doesn't look like somebody, and another person doesn't look like somebody else, and all these people have changed.
And the budget ran away with the dish and the spoon.
The first movie had Robin Shaw and Talisa Soto, and so did the second movie.
Yes.
But there was no Bridget Wilson, Lyndon Ashby, or Christopher Lambert, or anyone else from the first one. And that is what you get when you go to 1997's Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Give us a brief rundown of this one, just as much as... Don't have to do too much. Just,
okay.
Of all of its movie and its plot, such as it was.
Okay. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, as TC mentioned, begins right where the original Mortal Kombat movie, which had come out 2 years earlier, ends. The Earth realm is safe because the heroes have triumphed, and there won't be another Mortal Kombat tournament for another generation because the heroes have saved the day, right? Wrong answer.
How long is the generation?
25 years?
25 or 30 years, and I would say it would be what we mostly consider. I would think that would be the same. But they age, that the Asians that run that little temple, didn't they age at a slower rate? So maybe a generation there might be 50 or 60 years?
I don't know. I'm. This is math. Stop it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, no one told the bad guys you have to play by the rules because this enormous portal, which is horrible CGI, opens up over the temple where the heroes have gathered, and it starts raining men, and no one's saying hallelujah. The evil ninja forces of the Emperor of Outworld, Shao Kahn, start dropping like flies onto the planet Earth and running amok and killing people.
Wasn't he the subject of a hit song a few years ago?
What?
Shao Kahn.
That's Shaka Khan.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
And you're an idiot.
I'm not an idiot. I'm interjecting humor.
No, you're not an idiot.
It needs to be there because this movie is unfunny.
Oh, this movie is so earnest. It's so
No, he's earnest. The rest of the cast just sucks.
Anyway, Shao Kahn is trying to... Basically, Shao Kahn's like, screw the tournament, screw the rules, I'm making up my own stuff. And he is invading Earth, and his plan is to merge the Earth realm with the outer world realm, which will spell the doom of humanity. Everybody all together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dun, dun, dun! Can you tell we are not taking this the slightest bit seriously?
If we took this seriously, we would have both been dead in the front of the couch.
Oh, I know.
Seriously.
Anyway.
A
very quick battle at the beginning of the film kills off one of the main characters from the last film. Shao Kahn kills Johnny Cage in a fight that doesn't take longer than it takes to sneeze. And then the other people involved have to scatter and try and figure out what they need to do to defeat Shao Kahn and his evil minions, who also include the resurrected Queen Sindel. Now, for those of you who's going, big deal, who's that? Queen Sindel is actually the mother of Princess Kitana, who was actually Queen Sindel was a good person, but she had killed herself when Shao Kahn invaded, and he resurrected her as his evil queen, and she's all evil and bad. And, there is a lot of boo-ha-haing in this film.
And we know because I am the king of boo-ha-ha, kingofboo-ha-ha.com.
Yeah. Liu Kang, Kitana, and Sonya Blade, who was later joined by a friend of hers named Jax, team up with the protector of the Earth realm, the god of thunder, Raiden, to try and stop Shao Kahn and his evil generals, which includes Sindel, the centaur Motaro, and the multi-armed Shiva, along with some of the other evil bad guys, including Rain, Scorpion, and other people like that. And thus follows a journey through video game deaths and, leading up to a final conflict, a final battle between Liu Kang and Shao Kahn for the fate of Earth, decided in Mortal Kombat.
With Robin Shou reprising his role as Liu Kang and Talisa Soto reprising her role as Kitana from the first film. And then all new people, Sandra Hess replacing Bridget Wilson as Sonya Blade, James Remar replacing Christopher Lambert as Raiden, Chris Conrad replacing Lyndon Ashby as Johnny Cage, plus Brian Thompson as Shao Kahn, Irina Panteva as Jade, Len Red Williams as Jax, Keith Cook as Sub-Zero, Rainer Schoen as Shinnok, Lightfoot as Nightwolf, Musetta Vander as Sindel, Darren McBee, we'll talk about him, as Mutaro, John Medlin as Ermac, Tyrone Cortez Wiggins as Rain, and Margene Holden as Shiva. Darren McBee, I feel so sorry for the guy, because he was actually a decent actor.
Yeah.
And he got stuck in some of the worst crap ever in the late 90s and early 2000s. Mm-hmm. I mean, the last film I remember him in, he was playing a henchman to Anna Nicole Smith. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, really? And he had this blonde god Fabio look.
Yeah, Darren McBee might be better known to people who remember the original version of American Gladiators. He was on the first season of that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's where he got his start. Yeah.
He played one of the gladiators, a blonde god named Malibu. And he was the sole reason I watched the show. I'm a woman. I have needs. Don't judge me.
You weren't feeling that here, were you?
No.
Not raising the loins in this and that centaur outfit, right?
No. That poured cold water on my fire faster than anything. Oh my gosh, this movie is horrible. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. The first Mortal Kombat movie
was stupid, but it was fun.
Yeah, it ain't Citizen Kane, but it was enjoyable.
It didn't take itself seriously. It was a lot of fun, and a lot better action, and a lot better acting and actors in it. Because I've never really cared for Lyndon Ashby playing Johnny Cage. I like him as an actor, but I don't really care for him as Johnny Cage. But he was way better than this dude was on screen for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
Seriously, anybody out
and
there...
I like Chris Conrad, too. He's a good character actor, so...
Yeah, I didn't know who that was. I was like, who is this guy? Anybody out there who actually decides to do a Mortal Kombat movie and do it right this time?
They did a pilot for a few years ago with Jerry Ryan as Sonya. Mm-hmm. And it didn't go anywhere.
No, I know. But seriously, anybody who wants to do it and try and do a good job this time, Johnny Cage, 2 words. The Miz. Definitely. But oh my gosh, this movie is terrible. I mean, the Mortal Kombat movie, it didn't take itself that seriously. I mean, I don't think it did.
No, it didn't. That's what I said. It was fun.
This one
was so earnest. It was trying to be so serious, and it didn't. That's one. I mean, the action in some of the sequences here in this film are not bad.
The fight scenes are not horrible.
They're not.
No.
They're not all good.
No.
But they're not all bad. But the rest of it, oh my god.
No, the fight scenes. There's a few fight scenes that are actually quite good. I was actually quite impressed with the fight scene between Keith Cook as the second Sub-Zero. You have to follow the Mortal Kombat storyline to get, who's who sometimes. And Scorpion, although they did change Scorpion's hook the way they did it. They changed it from the video game. They changed it from the first movie. But I did like the actual fighting that they did. The special effects were nah. But
this movie has terrible CGI
from
beginning
the
to
CGI.
end. That's because there's some things that stand out about this film, and all of them are bad. One of them is the CGI. This film was made in 1997. Now, a lot of the CGI in the 90s was fairly good and getting more and more advanced all the time, but we were still at least 2 years and possibly 3 years away from the computer animation breakthrough made by the boys at Weta that allowed Lord of the Rings to take place. Mm-hmm. They were the ones that created the program that has changed CGI everywhere. And so we were still 3 or 4 years away from that. And it shows. I mean, the animation at the end with the animalities, it's horrible. Oh
my gosh.
It's bad. I mean, even a Harryhausen movie would be better than that. And I appreciate Harryhausen's artwork. I was never convinced that they're all the reality of the characters that they used. They looked great, but you could tell they weren't real. And here, I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's just garbage.
Well, the whole animality thing. Now, for those of you who didn't play Mortal Kombat, and I can't think of anybody in our audience that falls into that category,
that hasn't played it at least once.
Yeah. Well, the animality
unless they live in Pennsylvania Dutch country, in which case they're probably not listening to the podcast either.
No, I know.
Sorry.
I don't think
bad PC.
I don't think the animality came out until Mortal Kombat 2.
I think it was the second. Yeah, it was the second game.
The whole idea of the animality move is the fact that if you hit the right number of buttons and stuff like that, the cheat codes, you were able to turn into an animal. Your character turned into an animal.
What did they have to do with this?
What?
Cheat codes.
What?
They weren't even around back then.
What are you talking about?
Cheat codes. It's a band. You never heard of this band, Cheat Codes?
No. Are you serious?
Yes. The guy that used to be plug-in stereo is now Cheat Codes. He's the same guy.
Anyway.
Sorry, total non sequitur there.
Woo! And we're back over here now. The whole thing of it was that, if you hit certain buttons and did a certain, thing, segment of things and jump on one foot and all this other stuff like that, you're able to turn your character into a specific animal and it would kill the other character. Liu Kang's animality is that he turns into a dragon. Mm-hmm. Since Liu Kang is obviously modeled after Bruce Lee, that makes sense.
Really? I never would have guessed.
Are you done?
Well, I'm allowed to be sarcastic. You're not the only one that's allowed to be sarcastic,
even though Liu Kang's hair is much longer than Bruce Lee ever wore it, but I won't quibble.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But the whole fact that when he actually changes into the dragon, the only thing I was thinking was, don't laugh hysterically. That's rude. And I still did it.
Odie laughed.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like, that's a dragon. For serious?
Where's your fire? There's got to be fire-breathing
dragons.
Well,
my whole thing was he turns into a dragon and Shao Kahn turns into a hydra. ish sort of
Hydra, yeah.
thing.
Hydra, King Ghidorah kind of amalgam.
Don't insult King Ghidorah
well,
like
that's
that.
That's what King Ghidorah is. He's half a Hydra.
And no, actually, he's be a third of a Hydra. Hydras have 9 heads, so he.
Oh, they only had 8, and he's got 3.
Have 9.
Okay, all right, then he's a third of a Hydra. Then, all right.
But so anyway, so Shao Kahn and Liu Kang get into this big battle in their animality forms, and they both fall off the side of the temple.
Badly.
I'm sorry. What? No, I'm calling foul movie because the fact of the matter is Liu Kang is a dragon. Liu Kang is also a dragon that has wings.
Doesn't apparently know how to use them. He's the penguin of the dragon
dragon
world.
And the last time I looked, wings were kind of useful for, flying.
Although when you kind of think of it, he's more of an ostrich than a penguin. Because he's so earnest and can't see the forest because he's looking at the tree.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, Liu Kang is terribly earnest in this film. Terribly earnest. Thankfully not as wooden as Talisa Soto's Princess Katana. I'm like, did she do this whole movie on Novocaine? I mean, she's so numb. Oh my gosh. I mean, I know she's a princess and they're supposed to be all regal and stuff like that, but I'm like...
I mean, she's a fighter. She's not going to be regal and stuff that way.
Oh man. This movie is just so overwhelmingly ridiculous. I mean,
all right, let's talk about James Remar for a minute.
Oh yes, let's
James
go
Remar
there.
as Raiden.
Yes.
Okay, so we went from Christopher Lambert, a French actor, to James Remar, an American actor, and in the television series Mortal Kombat Annihilation, who played that role? Jeffrey Meek, right?
Jeffrey Meeker.
And
in these...
none of whom have any relationship with Raiden, who is a Japanese god of thunder and lightning.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I'd also
although
Jeffrey Meek, that's it.
I wouldn't go as far as to call it whitewashing because he's a god, and gods probably have the ability to look however they want to look. But it's very convenient that he looks like a Caucasian dude.
Yeah.
In all 3 films. At least they tried to make Lambert look sort of exotic.
Yeah. Well, he's got that very exotic accent.
He has that French accent.
So, I mean, see, that's the thing.
French is not an exotic accent if you're in France.
Yes, but if you're from Nebraska, well, actually, if you're from Nebraska, I have an exotic accent.
Well, so, park the car in Harvard Yard.
Oh, go piss up a rope.
Park the car in Harvard Yard.
How about bite me? Is that enough of an accent for you? But when the first Mortal Kombat movie came out, it was like Christopher Lambert's playing Raiden. What? And I mean, I was kind of like...
You couldn't find a Donnie Yen or somebody out there to do it.
I was like,
really?
Okay, this is stupid. But when I watched the movie, I was like, you know what? I actually like his portrayal of Raiden because he's kind of a smartass.
Yeah.
And
I liked Christopher Lambert as Raiden.
This works.
Jeffrey Meek wasn't bad in the TV series either. James Remar sucked.
Now, I don't think
he sucked. I didn't like his portrayal of the character at all.
All right. Well, what did you think was wrong with it?
Everything.
Okay.
I have no problem with Remar as an actor. He's a character actor who's done all kinds of different stuff over the years. Most famous, possibly, for The Warriors, and over the years he's appeared in great movies.
Yeah.
Like X-Men First Class and a few other things, Pineapple Express, which you still haven't seen.
No.
But he also did a voice.
On the Vampire Diaries.
He also did a voice for Transformers: Dark of the Moon, which was that's a terrible one. No, that one I didn't mind. It was the middle one I didn't like. Revenge of the Fallen I didn't like. But I mean, really, I just didn't really care for it. And he's not Raiden without the hat.
Yep.
Well, he's not.
See, I liked his Raiden because I felt like his Raiden had a real compassion about him.
Well, okay, fine. There's that whole earnest thing again.
I liked it. I didn't think it was bad. But I mean, every single portrayal of Raiden, whether it's been live action or voice work. I mean, when they did Mortal Kombat, what the heck was the name of that show? Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm in 1996. It was an animated series that didn't last terribly long.
No.
Clancy Brown voiced Raiden. Now, I love Clancy Brown. You know I love Clancy Brown.
Oh, this is bringing up visions I don't need, okay?
What?
Clancy Brown as Raiden. Well, who's he going to sound like? Lex Luthor or Mr. Krabs? Seriously.
Well, I think it's hilarious that he winds up playing a part that Christopher Lambert had already played, the whole Highlander thing. Because Clancy Brown was the bad guy in Highlander.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true, too.
Yeah. But I'm sorry. This has annoyed me ever since the first movie. And I don't like doing this. I really hate sounding PC like this. It bothers me. But Raiden is allegedly supposed to be the Japanese god of thunder, lightning, and storms and stuff like that. He's basically the Shinto pantheon version of Thor, for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why is he always being played by white dudes? I mean,
because
why?
Raiden can look like whoever he wants to
See,
look like. He's a god.
All right, see,
I already brought that up.
Yeah, see, until you brought that up, I hadn't thought of that. But thanks for actually making me look at that.
How many different portrayals of God there's been over the years, from everyone from George Burns to Nancy Walker to Morgan Freeman, and now Octavia Spencer have been playing God in all different types of movies and television series.
Right.
Anybody can play God.
Well,
I mean that that sounded terrible. That's kind of not what I'm not trying to go for the Gary Mitchell type of playing God. Trying to get.
Well, you mean God with a capital G?
Yeah, playing the character of God. That's what I mean. And so anybody can. It was however they want him to appear.
I think being of God would be better than character, but okay, anyway.
Well, it's a character in a movie, though.
All right,
it's not a being.
okay, all right, fine. That's fair. But the way you brought up the fact that Raiden's a god, he can look like whoever he wants, or whatever he wants.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of it that way. And that
he
actually...
could have walked around looking like a scorpion if he wanted to, or a shrimp. Or even a scallop or a clam.
He wouldn't be walking very far then.
No, but it'd be interesting.
Anyway, but looking
back... Or a walking, talking horse.
All right, okay, well, we got that with Motaro.
That's a centaur. That's not the same thing.
Well, no. Yeah,
literally a horse, looking like a horse, talking like a Mr. Ed.
Yeah, except for the fact that would be stupid.
And this wasn't?
Well,
that's my point.
Yeah, if you're... Now, this is obviously lending a lot of credence to the argument that nobody should ever make movies based on video games, because they almost never work.
The first one was fine.
Sometimes they do work. The first Mortal Kombat movie was fun. Dumb, but fun.
Yeah.
Then you get a movie like this, and it sucks.
If you're going to make a movie about a video... Here's the good lesson. If you're going to make a movie about a video game, make it about a video game that doesn't exist.
What?
Wreck-It Ralph. One of Disney's best films ever, based on a Wreck-It Ralph video game, which isn't real. It is now, but it didn't exist at the time the movie was there. It was made for the movie.
Some movies that are adapted from video games actually did make money, and actually, they make money. The first Tomb Raider movie, I think that.
That's true.
I think that had more to do with Angelina Jolie in a tight shirt and shorts. But look at the Resident Evil movies; those suckers will not go away.
Yeah, they keep making. They have their core following. Yeah,
those suckers won't go
That's
away.
That's true. Okay.
But then you try and do other video game movies, and they tank. The Super Mario Brothers movie tanked. House of the Dead tanked. I'm trying to think of some. They've tried a couple of the driving movies based on driving.
There's all kinds of stuff. All video games.
Yeah.
The Hitman bombed.
Yeah.
So,
the Hitman movie, even though they made two of them.
Doom bombed.
Yeah.
So, they're all bombs.
Yeah, they are for the most part. And this leads into that fine example of how not to make a movie based on a video game.
The saving grace for this film, for me, not for Kim, is the soundtrack. I love the soundtracks from the Mortal Kombat movies, all of them. And Annihilation is no exception. This movie has great music from Megadeth, Rammstein, Juno Reactor, Psychosonic, a whole bunch of other great acts, electronica acts and metal acts that are just fantastic to listen to. I wore this CD out. I would have if it was possible. I played it and played it and played it and played it and played it when it was out. And I did the same with the first one and the two that came out around them, like more combat, or they were more music but not really in the movies. Mm-hmm. And they were great. And so the soundtrack is a saving grace for me, but it's the only thing, and unfortunately you don't get to hear a lot of it, except in the middle of crap that goes on.
Yeah, and over the opening credits.
Yeah, and closing credits.
We're
like, is that Rammstein? Yes, that's Rammstein.
Yeah,
has to be. It's in German, and they're the main German act that had good popularity around the world. For a while. This is just one of the worst pieces of crap I've ever seen. Like I said, the action is not terrible, but the acting is horrible. The story is horrible. The writing is horrible. The CGI is abysmal.
My whole thing with this film is the fact that it makes me angry because people who were involved with the game were involved with the film. And I'm like, that character doesn't look like they look in the video game. That character doesn't look like they look in the video game.
But they don't always show up well if they look on the big screen as they would in the video game. So that's probably what they would say is the coloring won't work on a big screen than it would on a tiny video game screen.
I guess. But the whole backstory that they gave to Shao Kahn and Raiden and one of the Elder Gods, I was like, what the what? Where did all this come from? I won't go into it because if we have to see this movie and almost throw up from it,
as we say every week, if we have to suffer, you have to suffer. And we actually paid money for this.
Yeah, we did,
which is a shame.
But not as much as we would have paid at the theater, even in 1997.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation is available through most on-demand systems. Ours is on through whatever company released it, New Line, and you can get it on Vudu and on. I don't think it's not rentable on Amazon. You have to buy it, but you can find it out there for rent on Vudu and iTunes and a few other places.
And it does show up on cable every couple of months or so.
Yeah, you might want to wait for that because at least you can take bathroom breaks where you can go scream and not have to worry about anything.
Go rinse your eyeballs.
No, that's a good idea, and then we'll all come back for the next one. When we all get out there and do the whole Mortal Kombat and hope it actually exists this time.
No film is too good or too bad for us. This is Subject Cinema.
In a world where podcasts already seem to address every imaginable subject, one man broke new ground with a seemingly random obsession about exploding helicopters in movies. He was a podcaster on the edge, a maverick broadcaster who played by his own rules. Now, he has a last chance to talk about the strange way helicopters explode in film. Exploding Helicopter, available on iTunes and Podomatic now. Think you know about chopper fireballs? Think again.
All movies, all the time. Subject Cinema.
Tonight's movie contains sights and sounds so impressive, you'll wonder why we didn't charge you admission. Candy and popcorn are available from our snack bar. As a courtesy to all in attendance today, please refrain from smoking or talking during our future presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The movie is about to begin.
The main screen.
An uncharted island.
Let me list all the ways you're going to die. Rain, heat, disease-carrying flies, and we haven't started on the things that want to eat your life.
We'll double that.
Plus a bonus if we make it back. If?
In this dirty old part of the city, where the sun refused to shine.
Is that a monkey?
The film industry in Hollywood has been reviving all of its classic stuff from the 50s and 40s and 30s. Universal's in the middle of revamping their monster lineup. And Legendary teamed up with Warner Brothers, who teamed up with Toho, to start an all-new Americanized monster fest with Godzilla a few years ago, where they found great success. Now, the second installment in the Legendary Monsters series is out and getting interesting word of mouth. Tom Hiddleston, John Goodman, Brie Larson head up an all-star cast of Kong Skull Island. Give us the rundown.
The year is 1973. Vietnam is crawling to a painful end. The government has basically thrown up its hands and told the army, you're on your own. Public sentiment has turned against the war and sadly against its soldiers. And a group of soldiers in that part of the world are looking to go home. Unfortunately, their trip back to the States is sidelined because they are sent to be a military escort for a group of government workers headed up by a man named Bill Randa, who works for a mysterious organization known as Monarch. And they are sent along with a tracker named Captain James Conrad, a man who was an ex-army officer from Great Britain. They are sent to a place that the rest of the world doesn't really know existed, a place known as Skull Island. Skull Island is an island that is surrounded by constant storms, and there have been several planes and boats that have disappeared in this area. It's got almost kind of a Bermuda Triangle vibe to it. And we know that earlier on in the film, we saw a battle between two pilots from opposing sides of World War II, a Japanese pilot and an American pilot who crash land on this island and find out its mysterious secrets. And now in 1973, this group of people, along with the military people that I mentioned, who are led by Lieutenant Colonel Preston Packard, head off to this island along with a photographer named Mason Weaver, who is planning to expose this as a corrupt military operation. It turns out that's not even close to what it is. When they arrive on Skull Island, which takes a little bit of doing and almost gets them killed even before they get there, trying to get through these violent storms, the military starts dropping bombs on the island to determine if the ground under the island is the ground the island is made of is hollow. And doing so brings to the Army's dismay the attention of Skull Island's guardian, Kong. And thankfully, this is one movie where the military is like, monsters, pff, they don't exist. No, the military finds out really early on, monsters do exist. And when you show up at their island and drop bombs on them, they get pissy. And thus begins a battle man versus nature and man versus man, and finding out that while Kong is a dangerous opponent, there are things on Skull Island that are much, much worse.
With Tom Hiddleston as James Conrad, Samuel L. Jackson as Lieutenant Colonel Packard, John Goodman as William Bill Randa from Monarch, Brie Larson as photojournalist Mason Weaver, Jing Tian as San Li, a biologist working for Monarch, Toby Kebbell as Chapman, right-hand man to Colonel Packard, John Ortiz as the head of the Landsat expedition, Victor Nueves, Corey Hawkins as Brooks, a young geologist and graduate of Yale working for Monarch, and on the military side, Jason Mitchell as Glenn Mills, warrant officer, Shea Wiggum as Earl Cole, seasoned captain of the Sky Devils, and Thomas Mann as Reg Slivko, a warrant officer for the Sky Devils, and his little record player. Plus, Terry Notary in the motion capture suit as King Kong, John C. Reilly as Hank Marlowe, and Mark Evan Jackson, Eugene Cordero, Richard Jenkins, and Miyavi, plus voice work by Thomas Middleditch. What do you think?
I have been high on this movie since I saw the very first teaser trailer. I was like...
And I have not been.
Yes.
Despite Thomas Mann's presence.
I know. I have been saying, this is going to rock, this is going to rock, this is going to rock.
And I've been going,
Yes. And then we saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Holy sugar-covered crickets on a moped, is this movie amazing? And
I wouldn't go that far. It's a lot of fun. I wouldn't say amazing. Well, it's just me.
But who was right about the movie?
You.
Thank you. I love this movie! Oh my frog, I love this movie! This was so much fun and awesome, and the cast was amazing, and the special effects were incredible, and it just sent home the best message ever. The absolute best message ever in this film. You can call Kong a monster all you want. You can call the other things on this island monsters, which actually fits more because they are really ugly. They are. I'm sorry.
They are.
I'm not trying to be a total girl here, but ew, icky, gross. But in the end, as always, the most violent, destructive monster on this planet is us. And this time, man goes onto this island being all like, well, I'm man and I'm going to show I'm in control. And nature goes, oh, really? That's cute. I thought this movie was terrific. It's not perfect. I mean, it's not perfect. But it is really so much fun. It's scary. There are some jump scares in this movie that I just...
Yeah, there are some good scares in this film.
Screamed my lungs out.
No, you did not.
I did.
You jumped. You didn't actually make noise.
I think at least once I did, but
I didn't hear it.
Well, the movie's also very loud, so I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't hear me. It's really, really a great film. It is an awesome giant beast film, and Kong is amazing. Though you really feel like this is a real animal. I mean, they did such good work portraying Kong as what he is. He is a giant gorilla. This looked like a gorilla. This acted like a gorilla. And you could tell that this creature, this is a thinking creature. This thing is smart. And the thing I like the best is how important it comes into the fact that this is a thinking animal at the end of the film, where there is one of the most holy fudging crap, that was amazing battles I've ever seen. Primates know how to use tools. And that's something that I like, the fact that they remembered that about primates in this film and brought it up and used it to the best of their capabilities. I thought it was great. And the cast is fantastic. I don't think I've ever enjoyed Tom Hiddleston more. I think that his character, I mean, he wants to be this, I'm a world-weary cynic person, but he's not. You can tell he's not. He's a thinking, feeling human being and knows what's best and knows that what he wants to do is the right thing to do. It's not a question of I'm just trying to save my ass. It's the right thing to do. And I like that about his character. His character is a real hero. He wants to do the right thing, not because it's the easy thing to do, but because it is the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. And Brie Larson is just terrific. I think I hate using the term spunky. I hate that term. I really, really despise that term for women because I think it's wicked condescending. I do. I'm sorry. I do.
You know what? She's got spunk. I hate spunk.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Grant. But she's a very brave woman. She's been going out and, taking pictures in combat situations. I mean, when you think about it, that is even more dangerous than being a soldier. I mean, being a soldier is dangerous, but at least if you're a soldier, you have a gun and can shoot back. If you're a photographer, you don't have a gun. They don't usually issue you a gun when you're a photographer. You don't have anything that's going to protect you if you're out there getting shot at or almost eaten by monsters, like in this movie. I really liked her. I thought her character was terrific. I liked everybody in this film. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a great movie. And do I really need to say stay for after the credits? Do I really need to say that anymore? Does anybody actually... Well, actually, we do know people leave. We saw people leave, and I was like, where are you going, suckers? And you have to stay. Stay, trust me, stay. So what did you think?
I want to call out this excellent cinematography by Larry Fong.
Oh, I know.
Which was brilliant, and the wonderful score by Henry Jackman, who I've been a big fan of since X-Men First Class, where I first really got to know him. Loved the score, and this is one of his strongest. The performance here is the key. Everything looks great, but without a good script and a great performance, you can't really make these kind of films work.
Right.
This works all the way from beginning to end. There's a few sloppy parts. I was worried because director Jordan Vogt Roberts was the director of Kings of Summer, which was a good film until the last third, when it completely fell apart for me. And I was like, I hope that doesn't happen here. Thankfully, it didn't. It was well done. I questioned a couple of the sacrifices near the end of the film. I mean, they looked great, made fun, great script, but I would have liked other outcomes. But I like the fact that Hiddleston's character never trusts Jackson's character.
No.
The military guys are all one cohesive unit. They like working together. They're buddies. They're on their way home until this gets thrown in their faces. This thing about carrying a little kiddie record player into combat zones and blasting music at full volume through a helicopter speaker is kind of stupid.
Well,
but you know, that's going to say, hey, we're here.
Well,
where's the target? It's right here.
Well, Francis Ford Coppola did it. Now everybody feels like it's cool. So
I know, but still, that was fun. And all the performances are great. We have great performances from everybody all the way around. It's really a lot of fun and definitely adds to this whole universe. I'm drawn in by people I love. I wasn't interested in this film until I found out Thomas Mann was in it. And I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. He plays the guy with the record player. It's interesting. And Shea Wiggum, who Kim didn't even recognize.
No, I didn't.
Who we have loved since Risk Cutter's A Love Story. And he's great, too. And all the characters are great.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson did an awesome performance.
They have great chemistry with each other, all of the characters, and they work well. It doesn't seem like anybody is quite out of place unless that's part of the script. John C. Reilly's character is a bit of an interesting amalgam of characters that you might have heard of from people who have lived on desert islands for years after a war ended. But he's a really cool part of it. As for the post-credit sequence, I wasn't impressed. I've got to be honest. It's cool and it adds to it. But because of the way it's done, except for the very ending when it fades to black and you get the sound effect, that's cool. Other parts of it, it was a little underdone for me. I wish they'd done a little bit more with it. What's your score?
I give Kong Skull Island a very, very enthusiastic A.
I give it an A-. I love it. I had a lot of fun with it. Little problem with the post-credit sequence and a little bit of here and there that kind of bugged me, but nothing terribly serious. And the special effects are dynamite. And also, Kong is dynamite, and he's going to make an interesting foe for Godzilla in 2020.
Yeah, we get to find out who the real king is.
Kong Skull Island is playing everywhere. Check it out.
Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
His movies.
Way to go, Charlie!
I think it rips through your clothes when it takes you over.
More human than human is our motto.
He tasks me, and I shall have him.
Her movies.
The hills are alive. You're so jealous you can hardly breathe.
The rum!
Yes, the rum is gone.
Why is the rum gone?
Suddenly my life doesn't seem such a waste.
Fuzzy Fur movies. The Cavebabble Podcast. We babble about the movies you love. And probably a few that you love to hate. Find out more at cavebabble.com. Also available on iTunes, Stitcher, and by Smoke Signal. C-A-V-E. Babble. Cavebabble.com. Movies for him, her, and you.
If you're looking for great films, well, that's okay. You'll like us anyway. Subject Cinema.
Yes, I know that's not the song that we usually use for crowdfunders. That's because this is not your normal, typical crowdfunders. Usually when we do a crowdfunders, we're talking about helping fund a film we found that we thought you guys would like, or something to do with the film industry. In this case, it's a little bit more serious. It has been announced over the last few days. Actor Noah Hathaway is in need of somehow paying medical bills, which go back as far as his time as the legendary Atreyu from The Neverending Story from 1985. During the making of that film, he suffered an accident which has caused him health problems over the years, mostly with his back. Recently, had to have spinal fusion surgery.
Yeah.
And his bills are outrageously expensive. And so, we donated, and I went out and put a thing up about on Facebook and Twitter on Saturday. Noah truly is a cinematic hero to our generation. The Neverending Story is one of the most classic family, I'm not going to say children's films, because I love that film, and I always will.
People think children's films, and they think something cloying or sweet or something like that. This is a film for everybody. It's a story for everybody.
And some people don't realize Noah has never left. He continues to work in the acting business. He's done voiceover work. As a teenager, he continued in doing stuff like Trolls, the original, not Troll 2, the original Trolls. And he did a few things in the 90s and 2000s too. Most recently, he was seen in a film with Mark Hamill, correct? In Sushi Girl?
Sushi Girl, yeah.
Which was from 2014 or 15. And he does the convention circuit also.
Yeah, actually,
of course, remembered.
The last film he was in was a film called Blue Dream in 2013. Sushi Girl was from 2012.
Okay, so it's further back than I thought it was. And he does the convention circuit, and of course he's remembered from his first role, which was Boxy on the original Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
We're asking you to come and dig into your pockets and help out a little bit. He's actually involved with the fundraiser, but it's actually being run by a neighbor friend of his. The bills, the bill for his spinal surgery, $184,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
$184,000. And so they're coming out here and asking people to donate, and it's a good cause, and Noah is still a fantastic actor, and his pets also need some medical attention, his dogs. And so that's going to go partly to that, too. There's pictures of his spine on the x-rays here on the GoFundMe page.
Yeah, the ironic thing is that he got injured falling off the horse that played Artax.
Either falling off the horse or a horse fell on him. A horse got spooked and fell on him.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
Okay,
wow.
Yeah, it's
He's lucky
crazy.
He wasn't killed. When you think about,
He was 12 at the time. So that's...
When you think about how heavy a horse is,
like
you think about how heavy a horse is, and they've got hooves flailing and stuff like that. It's a miracle he wasn't killed.
He's had medical bills for years because of this, and has had to go in and actually had to relearn to walk 2 other times. So it's like crazy.
Wow.
If you donate $50 or more, Noah is actually getting involved by sending personalized autographed pictures, your choice of whether you want it from Galactica or Neverending Story. And I thought that was just really nice. I love to have it, and I'll treasure it, because we gave enough to do that. But I want him to get better.
The most important thing is his health, and Noah, you're definitely in our thoughts and prayers, and we hope everybody who listens, if you can't donate money, you can at least donate good thoughts and good
donate
vibes.
a second for our Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
Go over to GoFundMe /Noah Hathaway. You can get the full poop over there. And if you can't donate, take 5 seconds and pass it on to your friends and family on Facebook, Twitter, and everything else you're on.
Yep.
Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
We're a week late on this. We usually do it the first week of the month, but last week we were just so crazy and stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to take time to note the passings of the last couple of months since our last Take a Bow segment. On February 6th, Irwin Corey passed away. This generation doesn't remember him. But in the early days of television, he was a frequent comedian under the name, a frequent guest under the name Professor Irwin Corey, to appear on the Steve Allen Show and a number of other variety shows and game shows of the day. He was 102 years old. This guy lived a long, healthy life. On February 7th, Richard Hatch passed away. Richard, of course, starred as Apollo on Battlestar Galactica, shot straight to fame. More recently had done All My Children and such. You had a big crush on him when you were a kid.
I did. Richard had appeared on the earlier seasons of the Streets of San Francisco. And like you said...
No, actually it was the later season. He replaced Michael Douglas.
I'm sorry, I had it backwards. And he became very popular with the sci-fi crowd as Apollo, the son of Commander Adama on Battlestar Galactica. That's the first place I saw him.
From the original show.
Yeah, the original show. And I had a huge crush on him back then. Also, on February 11th, we said goodbye to Chavo Guerrero Sr. He was the patriarch of the professional wrestling Guerrero family, most notably his son Chavo Guerrero Jr. is a professional wrestler and also was related to the late great Eddie Guerrero. He was
nephew, right?
His nephew. He was 68 years old and passed away from liver cancer.
Writer, director, producer Howard Leeds passed away also on February 11th. He was 97. Leeds was one of the creative forces behind practically every sitcom in the 1970s, including stuff as diverse as The Brady Bunch, Silver Spoons, and Different Strokes. On February 12th, singer Al Jarreau passed away. Jarreau, a big-time Grammy-winning jazz singer, but best known to most audiences as the person who did the theme from Moonlighting for several years on the television series of the 1980s. He was 76. Bruce Lansbury passed away on February 13th. He was 87. Lansbury was a producer and a writer, the older brother of actress Angela Lansbury. He was phenomenally successful in addition to producing his sister's show, Murder, She Wrote. I remember seeing his name on all kinds of crazy stuff in the 80s, from everything from Wonder Woman to either Street Hawk or Automan, I forget which one. A few other ones in between, plus Wild Wild West, Knight Rider, a number of other things. He passed away due to complications from Alzheimer's disease.
February 16th, we said goodbye to another wrestling icon. George Steele passed away. He was 79 years old. He died of renal failure. George was best known as George the Animal Steele. He was a really interesting character in the ring with his bald head and hairy body and green tongue, and also his predilection for tearing apart turnbuckles and flinging the stuffing all over the place. He will probably be best remembered as a wrestler for his incredibly violent feud with Macho Man Randy Savage over the affections of Miss Elizabeth. He also appeared in films playing another wrestler, the Swedish Angel Tor Johnson, in the biopic done by Tim Burton of Schlock director Ed Wood.
Yep. On February 17th, another person directly related to wrestling passed away, Nicole Bass. She was 52. Nicole was known best as a bodybuilder before becoming involved with a bodyguard role on both ECW and later in WWE. Mm-hmm. She had been ill for a number of years over the years, and as I said, was only 52 years old. And actor Warren Frost passed away on February 17th as well. Character actor, he's one of those It's That Guy when you see his face. Probably best known for appearances on Twin Peaks, Matlock, Seinfeld, and a number of other things. Another wrestler passed away on February 18th, Ivan Koloff.
Ivan Koloff was 74.
This has not been a good month for wrestlers.
No, he was known as the Russian Bear and definitely played up the whole evil Russian imagery. Pretty much even after the Cold War, he was involved with a very storied feud with Bruno Sammartino. A lot of old-time wrestling fans in the New England area still talk about the fact that a bunch of fans found out which one of his cars, which car belonged to him at the Boston Garden during a WWF wrestling show and promptly wrecked it.
That would be back in the 80s.
Yes, back in the 80s. Might have even been the 70s. I still heard people talk about it back in the day. He was the master of the Russian chain match and will definitely be missed as a classic old-time wrestler.
Film critic Richard Schickel passed away on February 18th as well. He was 84. He was for many years the chief critic for Time magazine. Also appeared in For the Love of Movies, the movie made by Jerry Peary a couple years ago. Complications from strokes. Actor Chris Wiggins passed away on February 19th. Best known for his role as the older advisor gentleman to Roby and John D. LeMay on the television series Friday the 13th, the series. He's been around for years and years and years and did all kinds of stuff on television, movies, and voice work. A long storied career for him. On February 20th, Brenda Butner passed away. Brenda was the host of Bulls and Bears for Fox Business Channel, and she was also a contributor to Fox News Channel. She was 55, had been stricken with cancer. On February 25th, Bill Paxton. Oh, I almost gave the wrong Bill.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton passed away. He had a stroke during heart surgery. He was 61, currently starring on CBS's television series Training Day. Best known for his role in films like Twister and his own directorial debut, Frailty, plus on the
small screen, he was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And Big Love was a big hit for him on Showtime.
And he is probably one of the few actors on the planet that could claim the fact that he was killed by an alien, a predator, and a Terminator. I don't know of anybody else that can claim that sort of dubious honor, quote, quote. On February 26th, the gavel came down a final time for Joseph Wapner. He was 97 years old and rose to fame as the judge on The People's Court, a show that was a pretty minor, a modest hit, I would say, but everybody...
It lasted for 20-some years.
Well, it's still on now.
Well, it was revived.
Yeah.
It went off for a couple of years.
Yeah, but after the way it was used in the film Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman's autistic character being fixated on that show, I think that definitely added to its viewing audience, and especially to Judge Wapner, who didn't suffer fools gladly or suffer idiots at all.
Right. On February 27th, one of the most prolific voice-over announcers passed away, John Harlan. If you're a game show fan from the 70s or 80s, you probably heard his voice. He was the announcer for shows as diverse as Catchphrase, The Crosswits, Face the Music, The Merv Griffin Show when it was in Los Angeles, the original version of American Gladiators, Wipeout, It Takes Two. He did voiceovers for Solid Gold and General Hospital. He was everywhere, and his golden tones have graced American voiceover work for many years. He was 91. Paul Kangas passed away on February 28th. Paul was one of the hosts of the Nightly Business Report on PBS for many, many years. And died of Parkinson's disease and prostate cancer. March 3rd, a surprising death. Singer and songwriter Tommy Page passed away. He committed suicide. He was 46 years old. Page, best known for his #1 hit, I'll Be Your Everything, in 1990, which he had a guest vocalist in Jordan Knight from New Kids on the Block. He toured with them that year. I remember making jokes about him when A Shoulder to Cry On came out. That was his first hit. And I was like, man, he's a great songwriter, but he's like the Bob Dylan of this generation because he can't carry a tune. He wrote great stuff and eventually became an executive inside the business, wrote for The Village Voice, was a worker at Reprise Records, wrote as an executive editor at Billboard, and a lot more. Committed suicide on March 3rd, leaving behind a husband and 2 kids. Singer Valerie Carter passed away also on March 4th. She was a singer best known for background singing in many cases. But if you were a fan of Christopher Cross's debut album, she does a duet on that album with him called Spinning, and that prompted her to push into the public eye a little bit more. And she had a little bit more success with her band Howdy Moon in the 1980s. She was 64. Film historian and Turner Classic Movies staple Robert Osborne passed away on March 5th. This is not going to be the same without him. Osborne was a staple on Turner Classic Movies from the time it premiered until just last year when he had to cut back due to illness. Is there somebody on the face of the earth that knows more about the Hollywood industry than Osborne?
No.
He was full of these rich, hilarious stories, which he often told on the show and also on the special shows where he would interview people and talk to things.
He knew so much about films, but he never came off as a film snob.
He knew enough to blackmail everybody in Hollywood, and he never did because he wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah. He was the kind of person that you could sit down with, whether you were a student of film or a film novice. You definitely got the feeling he would sit with you and talk with you and never talk down to you.
Yeah. He was one of a kind, and there's not going to be another Robert Osborne anytime soon. Producer Fred Weintraub passed away on March 5th also. Weintraub, along with, I believe his brother or his cousin, Jerry, I forget which, if they're brothers or cousins, have produced everything and anything for 40-some years in Hollywood. Fred, best known as the producer of Enter the Dragon and a number of the kung fu hits that Bruce Lee had and a number of other things over the years. On March 7th, professional wrestler Ron Bass passed away, another wrestler.
Yep.
You know him more than I do.
Ron
he was more
Bass,
known for the smaller feds than a big
Ron Bass was 68 years old and passed away from complications from surgery. He appeared mostly in the southern part of the United States, in the wrestling federations in Florida, was involved with it in a very nasty feud with Barry Windham, but did appear on World Wrestling Federation television a few times, specifically on one occasion when he allegedly cut open Brutus Beefcake's forehead with a pair of cowboy spurs that was so bloody they put a big X on the TV, which a lot of people might remember who are classic wrestling fans.
On March 10th, we saw a writer and author Robert James Waller passed away. Waller was the author best known for The Bridges of Madison County. Passed away due to myeloma. Tony Haygarth is a name that you don't remember from if you're not an American. Most British people will know him. He's been a staple of British and television and radio and theater for many, many years. American audiences might remember his role as Renfield in the 1979 edition of Dracula with Frank Langella, or his voice work as Mr. Tweedy in the wonderful Chicken Run from 2000. He was 72. And finally, singer Joni Sledge passed away on March 10th. She was 60. Joni took over the lead singing jobs for Sister Sledge when her sister Kathy left the band a few years ago, and continued with them right up to her passing. No cause of death was announced, but definitely a voice that will be missed a lot. All of these people are people that most people remember. And
they will definitely be missed by their friends and fans and families.
And by us here at Subject Cinema, and so we offer them the chance to take one final bow. And thank you for all their work that you've done over the years.
Welcome to the soundtrack of your life. You're listening to Subject Cinema with T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown.
Red carpet monitor time now. One more awards show going through it. This time, it's kind of fun because the kids get to vote. It's the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, which aired this weekend. John Cena hosted from WWE. Had 9 new categories. And the big winner of the night, Nickelodeon's television series Henry Danger. They took an interesting pot shot at Moonlight by doing the whole, hey, wait a minute, this card says Moonlight won. No, wait, it can't. It wasn't even up. I thought that was pretty funny. They premiered clips from Transformers and Wonder Woman on the show. Overall, the list looks like this. Favorite kids show, Henry Danger. Favorite family show, Fuller House. Favorite reality show, America's Got Talent. Favorite cartoon, SpongeBob SquarePants, which I think has won like the last 15 years in a row. For favorite TV male star, Jace Norman for Henry Danger. Favorite female TV star, Zendaya for KC Undercover. Favorite movie, Ghostbusters. Favorite movie actor, Chris Hemsworth, Ghostbusters. Favorite movie actress, Melissa McCarthy, Ghostbusters. I sense a pattern here. Favorite animated movie, Finding Dory. Favorite voice from an animated movie, Ellen DeGeneres, Finding Dory. Favorite villain, Snowball, played by Kevin Hart in The Secret Life of Pets. Favorite butt kicker, Chris Evans as Captain America in Captain America Civil War. BFFs, best friends forever, Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson for Central Intelligence. Favorite frenemies, Jennifer Goodman and Jason Bateman for Zootopia. Most wanted pet, I'm assuming they mean like America's Most Wanted, not like I want that. Snowball from The Secret Life of Pets, done by Kevin Hart. The Hashtag Squad, which I think is the Ensemble Award, went to Finding Dory, Ellen DeGeneres, Albert Brooks, Caitlin Olsen, Hayden Rollins, Willem Dafoe, Ed O'Neill, Ty Burrell, and Eugene Levy. They should have given it to Sigourney Weaver, too. Excuse me. Favorite music group, Fifth Harmony. Favorite male singer, Shawn Mendes. Favorite female singer, Selena Gomez. Favorite song, Work From Home by Fifth Harmony with Ty Dolla $ign. Favorite new artist, 21 Pilots. Favorite music video, Juju on That Beat by Zay Helfiger and Zayon McCall. I'm sorry, I'm totally unfamiliar with that song. Favorite DJ or EDM artist, Calvin Harris. Favorite soundtrack, Suicide Squad. Favorite viral music artist, Jojo Siwa, excuse me. Favorite global music star, Little Mix from the UK. And the favorite video game, Just Dance 2017. So those are the 2017 winners on the Kids' Choice Awards. Got to give them credit for doing the whole Moonlight thing. I don't know how many kids in the audience actually got it, but it's pretty funny.
T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
Plug Central.
This is the place where we always talk about us a little bit, and we want to remind you of all the other shows and stuff we have out there. There was daily coverage all last week on eCinemaBoston.com of the 10th Annual Salem Film Fest. It went off without a hitch. Great shows from what I've heard up there. Mm-hmm. Word of mouth was terrific. I wish we'd been able to get there. This was the first year we've missed it in 5 years.
Yeah.
We are still working with some of the filmmakers to grab screeners for them. And we got a lot more coming up as part of our Boston Springs Festival show, including great stuff coming to Underground and a few of the other festivals. We'll have more of that on eCinemaBoston.com. You want to check it out all the time. eCinemaOne is our regular site where we post all of our podcasts as well as other bits of information, occasionally the trailers or two, and a few other things. And hopefully, as I get going again, more running commentary about the things in the film world and entertainment industry that interests me. I hope to have an article up tomorrow about something that I've really got stuck under my craw right now that I don't want to bring up on the show. Plus, we've got all these other great shows. Subject Cinema's sister show, Front Row 5 and 10, up every Thursday evening with crazy lists with yours truly and Kim.
Yep.
This last week we did our favorite Bond villains and Bond ladies. This coming week we're going to do our top 10 internet animal stars.
Yep.
All kinds of crazy lists coming up on Front Row 5 and 10. We hope you'll listen to that. It's part of the Subject Cinema feed. Over on our other feed, we have two other mini shows, 3 Minute Weekend and Tuesday Digidex. Those are our quick, under 10-minute shows, running down the latest films out in theaters on 3 Minute Weekend Fridays at 10, and the latest DVDs, Blu-rays, and on-demand streaming for regular streaming, Amazon Prime, and Netflix on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. And you can subscribe to those by going to the 3 Minute Weekend link in your show notes. We also want to remind you that we have other shows not connected directly to Subject Cinema. Platinum Rose's Garden with Kim.
Yep.
With her Supernatural series every Saturday evening during the Supernatural season. She's on hiatus after this last show for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. This week I am looking at the Supernatural episode that just aired this past week, Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell. I hope you guys will come check that out. Supernatural is off of the air for the next 2 weeks, but you can come check out the latest episode and my take on it and my take on some other things as well. It is not safe for work, I will tell you that right now. And over at PlatinumRosesGarden.com.
Join me on Wednesdays. Supposedly, I've missed the last 2 weeks. It will be back this Wednesday. Catastrophe Vortex. We will be covering all kinds of disaster movies and talk a lot about all the different things that we have seen on big screen. Explosions, earthquakes, fire, volcanoes, plane crashes, all that stuff every Wednesday night on my show, Catastrophe Vortex. And that's available at catastrophevortex.com. And there's Cavebabble with Eric and Valerie Lyon. Movies, games, odd things to eat, and a lot more. And that is coming up for you at Cavebabble.com every weekend with Eric and Valerie Lyon, as I said. We do have some other things in development, including 1 or 2 video ideas, a couple more new podcast ideas, and more. But we really need your help to pull them off, and that is why we have a Patreon campaign running right now. Patreon.com/PNRNetworks. You can come on at any level. Start at the $2 level, and you can get some great access, and we've got perks going all the way up to $100 a month. And we hope you'll join us. We've not had much luck over the last few months, but I hope that will change because we're really in desperate need of some new equipment, and we need you guys to help us. And we're hoping that all you loyal listeners out there, and you still exist, I do see you every week on the counts, I hope that you will take the time. I mean, even as I said before, if all of our listeners donated $2 a month, we'd make our first goal easy and probably our second goal. We hope that you would do more than that, but if everybody who listened donated, it would be a big help. And don't wait and say, oh, the other people will do it. I don't need to do it. Other people will do it. Wrong. Everybody needs to do it. We need you. You're a listener. You're a loyal listener. You like our brand of funny. You like our brand of shows. This supports everything we do. Patreon.com/PNRNetworks. Please donate today. Anything else going on?
No, I think that's about it.
Wrap it up real quick with this week's edition of Plug Central.
Subject Cinema.
The last reel.
As always, a funny story to take us out.
Yeah. You gotta love live TV. A gentleman named Robert Kelly, who is an expert on the politics of South Korea, was doing an interview on BBC News and was joined by some special guests. Mr. Kelly was talking about...
This is a live feed up on the BBC at the time.
Yeah, you gotta love this kind of stuff. He was in a very serious interview, fielding some very serious questions about the very serious topic of the impeachment of the South Korean president. I'm going to mess this up, and I'm very sorry. Park Geun-hye, I believe is correct, or close to correct. If it's not, I'm terribly sorry. When he was joined by Marion and James. Now, who are Marion and James? They are not his fellow professors. They are his children. Marion is a 5-year-old girl, and James is a 9-month-old boy. Now, the issue is, and how this seems to have happened, is the fact that their grandmother has actually come forward and taken blame for this whole fiasco, because Marion and James burst in on the live feed and had to be pulled out of the room, yanked out of the room, by their mother. And it turns out that Eileen Kelly, who is Mr. Kelly's mother, they regularly talk with their son and their daughter-in-law and grandchildren on Skype. And the issue was that she thinks that the kids must have heard Dad talking to somebody on Skype and assumed it was Grandma and did what kids do. I want to talk to Grandma, and just barreled on into the room. As it turned out, They were not talking to Grandma. They were talking to the BBC and everybody watching the live feed at that time. I'm sorry.
We'll have a link to the clip. It's really funny.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is
at least the guy found humor in it.
Yeah, he did. He did, definitely. Well, it's your kids, and they're doing what kids do. There's just something completely crazy about live TV. Anything can happen, as we've seen more often than not. And this has become a bit of a viral hit. Everybody's watching it, and it's cute. I mean, it's one of those things. It's life. Every once in a while, life hits you in the face with a pie. It's what it is.
It's life.
It's life.
And that's the last reel.
The best movies! Subject Cinema!
Okay, Masochistic March is half over.
Yay!
Next week, we go into Bruceploitation. Times 3. All 3 of Bruce's clones, or alleged Bruce clones, are in a particular film called Clones of Bruce Lee next week. And we will wrap it up the week after that with a movie. When I saw it was called The Little Dragons, but when we talk about it, it's Karate Kids USA, and that'll be coming up in 2 weeks. Also want to remind you to check out all of our other stuff going on as we did in Plex Central. Don't forget to check out all of our other shows and sites over the week, and you can check out all of the show notes for great links to some of the stuff we've talked about in this week's show, and hopefully you will check those out as well.
And just to also toss a few other things out there that we probably should have mentioned in Plug Central, if you'd like to follow either of us on Twitter, you may do so. I'm at PlatinumRoseL at Twitter.com.
And I'm at both eCinemaOne and eCinemaBoston. I think it's eCinemaBoston TC, actually, on Twitter. And Popcorn and Roses is still our name on Facebook. You can go over there and check that stuff out. And you can follow my personal Facebook, too, where I'm TC Kirkham.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, I think that ought to do it.
All right, let's batten down the hatches, get ready for this blizzard coming in on Tuesday, see what we can do, and watch more bad kung fu. For Subject Cinema, I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be buttered.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
Yikes.
Subject Cinema wins fatality.
You have been listening to Subject Cinema with hosts T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema is produced by PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, which is solely responsible for its content. Subject Cinema theme performed by Eric Lyon. Subject Cinema is recorded and produced using Sony Vegas products. Subject Cinema is copyright 2017 by PNRNetworks under a Creative Commons license. Check out a new episode of Subject Cinema every weekend. Until next time, this is Bob Taylor for Subject Cinema, and we'll see you at the movies.
That's all.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.